Hello and welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. It's my Eurovision 2025 Grand Final Retrospective Part 2. Please do click on the subscribe button, ring that notification bell and like, share and comment below. Now, as promised, here I am back with songs 14 to 26 from the Grand Final, where I am looking back over the Grand Final performances and the result and just a few comments, trying to restrict myself to 30 seconds to a minute, since I singly failed to do that in the first part of this. So let's see how I get on in the second part. So up forward in 14th in the running order was Italy, Lucia Corsi, Volevo essere un duro. Now, this had not found a lot of favour amongst Eurovision fans. It wasn't the winner of Sanremo. Very different. I had a feeling this was going to do well. I said never ever underestimate Italy. They bring quality in terms of the song and the performance, and I think and there was this one stood out in the fact of being different, and I think all of that held true. It came across very well. They took a brave decision. I was not going to say brave, but they took a decision to put the lyrics up in English so people understood what it was about. And that seems to work. So Italy, they came fourth in the jury. I did think the juries would like this, but this finished in 10th in the televote as well. Now, Italy do tend to do pretty well in the televote, I have to say, immaterial, whatever genre they send. So that's not a surprise. But yeah, overall, top 5 place for Italy yet again. Their record at Eurovision since they came back in 2011 is absolutely astonishing. It is along with Ukraine and Sweden, they really are the kind of one of the powerhouses of Eurovision. In 15th, quite a change of tempo when we had Poland and a returnee to the contest, Justyna Stefczkowska with Gaia. This is one of my favourites. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this. Now, I wasn't surprised to see that the juries did not quite appreciate this as much, and I can see why. So it finished 24th with the juries. But I think fans at home, I think, enjoyed it. The Polish diaspora enjoyed it, and it came 7th in the televote. And that gave them an overall result of 14th, which is mid-table. And I think that was a pretty good result for Poland coming back. Even when they had Ochman a few years ago, which was one of the big favourites, that only finished 12th. So, and this had never been considered as being a favourite to win. So I don't think that's a bad result at all for Poland, and I think they had an excellent national final. I hope that continues for 2026. Then we have Germany with Abor and Tuna with Bala, the first German entry sung in German since, I think, 2007. And this was a big fan favourite. A lot of people really liked this. I was a bit sceptical because the live performances had I wasn't really sure about. But actually, I thought it came together pretty well in the grand final. And they got a very decent 15th place. Not as high as last year in 2024, even though I think this one was, I think this was much more my sort of genre. But that's because the jury didn't go for it quite as much. They finished 13th with the jury, 70 points, pretty decent actually, and perhaps a bit more than I'd expect for this genre of song. And they came 11th with the televote. That's just really good for Germany to come that high in the televote. They haven't come that high in the televote for quite a while, for quite a few years. And that sort of combination gave them an overall decent result. Although it's quite ironic, they came 13th and 11th and then finished 15th, but that is just the way how the votes, when they get added up, happen to. So a really good effort from Germany. I thought their national final selection was diabolical, but they ended up with something good in the end. There we go. Speaking of having a diabolical national final but ending up with something good quality, we go to Greece at number 17 with Claudia Astaramata. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of this song, I'll be honest, from the national final performance and from the music video, but I think she really elevated it, the staging really elevated it, and just the performance was really quite striking and rewarded Greece with yet another top 10 result. They've had quite a few top 10, top 11 results in the last few years, and this finished 6th. This came 8th with the jury, 8th with the televote, which again is very impressive. Yes, helped by a bit of Greek diaspora, but also a lot of people genuinely liked it. And for me, this was probably along with Switzerland, although Switzerland, I'm not sure whether I call Swiss a ballad because it has some interesting parts. But I think of the sort of the more classic female ballads. This was probably my favourite of the night, and probably the one I probably think the best one. And it came and deservedly finished high up, and certainly should have finished deserved higher than Israel's ballad. Armenia were up next in 18th, Parg and Survivor. He scraped through to the grand final in 10th, but I was really pleased with him. He the writing team behind Survivor was like a who's who of Eurovision winners and really good songwriters who've done really well at Eurovision. So, but yeah, he snuck through and fully enjoyed himself there. 20th place. So not quite the top 5. But I think given the expectations of this, I think that is a pretty decent result for Armenia. It finished 18th with the juries. It actually got 42 points with the juries, which, given that Parg is not necessarily the most powerful singer, most sort of necessarily not the best vocalist in the lineup, it's done pretty well, and. He got 18th in, actually interestingly, he got 18th in the televote as well, so very consistent. 18th, 20th overall, once again. The way that the votes combine ended up being fine. Anyway, it was very entertaining. Lots of sort of oily sort of makeup that was mud or grease was, I'm sure many people enjoyed that. I think it went down quite well in the party that we were at as well. 19th, this was the song that was drawn way before because it was the host song, Zoe May and Voyage. She was the Basel girl. Finished 10th overall, so top 10 result. This had kind of started been climbing in the kind of the betting in the run up to the last week or so because it's such a quality song. And indeed, this finished 2nd with the juries. Switzerland have done so well with the juries in recent years, like stunning set of results. So 2nd in the jury, and then no televote points whatsoever. That was one of the more shocking moments for this. I just wonder whether it just didn't connect. Maybe people hadn't. I don't know. They'd already decided what they wanted. I don't know why this didn't do so well. Didn't do well with the jury, with the televote, because other ballads had. Maybe it was less accessible. Don't know. It's like, talk about one of the most least deserving, nil point. I mean, obviously, it got 210 or 214 points from the jury, so she can't be too upset. But yeah, I think she probably just found it amusing. But yeah, it's very one of the more perplexing results of the night. Big fan favourite came up next, 20th, and took place 20 was Mariana Conte for Malta and Serving. I think this is probably the best example of fan wank that, or what turned out to be fan wank, as in hugely popular in the Eurovision bubble with everyone that was involved with Eurovision. What a journey she'd been on, and how all the controversy and and all the friends she made. And then she finished 17th overall, and I think that's and finished 12th with the jury. Did way better with the jury than I expected, given the nature of it. It was a lot of fun. And then the televote did not come through. 23rd and just 8 points in the televote, which is pretty shocking, I think. And she finished, I think, came 9th in the semi-final, which is televote only. Malta has a televote issue or televote problem. And I don't know whether this is to do with the size of the country. Partly, I do think some of these smaller countries struggle to get that breadth of support. We'll see it with San Marino as well. And they don't have the resources to do what certain other countries can do and really lobby or organise groups to get out and vote multiple times. Just doesn't have that breadth there. So, yeah, surprising. So I think that's why I call it fan wank, because it was so popular in the fandom, just didn't hit with either, to be honest, either the semi-final vote, the sort of watching crowd, and certainly not the final crowd. Hope that doesn't. I think Malta should be pleased that they got to the final again, but yeah, they like the UK and Australia for that matter. We all have a televote problem, and it's trying to unlock that. It's going to be key for some of us to see if we can actually get consistently good results. A more positive surprise in terms of that they qualified in the first place, although I did wonder, because they're so good at doing it these days, it's Portugal, and that was Napa and Deslocado, song that went very viral, very popular in Portugal. 21st overall, so bottom 5. I think the fact that it's got to the final was quite an achievement. It got 19th in the juries, which Portugal have often done well in the juries because they bring really strong vocalists or something very different. Deslocado, Napa were not bad vocalists, but it wasn't a big vocal showcase in quite the way that some of their previous ones have been. So not quite so hot on the jury show, and they got 21st at 13 points in the televote. Obviously, they got I think they came 8th. I think in the televote in their semi-final, which is all right, but not quite in the grand final. It was very nice to have in the grand final. Though it was just between Malta, having just had serving and then going into Portugal was just such an interesting change of and it was very relaxed. So it was nice to have them there. And they didn't get with no points, so I think hopefully they were pleased that they got there in the end. I think they were. Denmark were in 23rd. Sissal and Hallucination, and goodness me, Sissal's whole motivation was to get Denmark qualified. They had the worst, I think, or the longest non-qualification streak of active non-qualification streak, I should say, just to be very clear, in a row, because although Montenegro also have a long qualification, they had missed songs. So Sal was absolutely determined. She said, I don't care if I finish 26th in the grand final, I just want to be there. In the end, she finished 23rd. She got 17th from the juries, 17th place from the juries, just 2 points, 24th in the televote. I think she thought that was quite amusing. I think here it was, the whole thing was about getting to the final, and it's a good, solid Euro pop song, but when you then plump it into the final, the reasons to vote for it become more difficult when you've got 25 other songs and there are other kind of Eurovision-y pop songs in there. So I think that's probably a little while it didn't do quite so well on the televote, rather than it being, as we all know, just because songs get not very much in the televote does not mean they're bad songs or unpopular songs. It's just the way that voting structure works. 23rd place was Sweden, the hot favourite going in, although they've become slightly less hot just before the grand final. It was Kai Barabastu. We knew this was unusually for Sweden. We knew they were going to rely on the public vote more than the jury vote, which is normally the other way around with Sweden. And the question was, who was going to get all the public? Who was the public going to go for? Was it going to be Estonia? Was it going to be Sweden? Was it going to be Finland? In the end, it was Estonia, but Sweden did come third in the televote, which is, for them, remember, Lorraine came second in the televote, and that was with that huge song too. So that's pretty good. Although they weren't that far ahead of Austria. This is the interesting thing, because it was always the thing about, was it Sweden versus Austria? Sweden only came out 20 points ahead of Austria in the televote, and obviously Austria were way ahead of them in the jury. They came 6th in the jury, which is not bad, but it wasn't enough really to get anywhere near challenging Austria. But another top 5 place for Sweden. I think people seem to think it was a failure that they didn't do anywhere near as well. And I hope that's not the message that the Melfest producers get, because actually to have this band that came from nowhere, they weren't a favourite to win Melfest, and all songs that are not favourites to win Melfest almost never win Melfest, and it was sung in Swedish. And it finished 4th, and they got 3rd in the televote. So I hope that Melfest producers take note of that and don't just revert back to, we've got to produce, perfectly produced English language pop again, because that will just send me to sleep again, I think. No, there's a place for it, and it's been very enjoyable, but I do think a bit of a mix-up is nice. It's like you have other things available in your music industry other than that. One of the big favourites was up at 24th, so we had 2 of the big favourites back-to-back. France, Luan, Maman. This is popular with the fans, not so much with me. I was never so keen on this, I'll be honest. And I didn't, I'm sure some people did not appreciate that where I placed it in my pre-show top 20, top 37. But I feel slightly more vindicated in a way that it didn't do quite as well as I think they were expecting it to. Finished third in the jury. I think some people thought this could landslide the jury, but no, it did not landslide the jury. It was quite a way adrift of Austria and also Switzerland. Decent result though, and well done. She is an amazing singer. The staging was interesting, and I think yes, there's been enough commentary about kind of some of how that staging appeared. Televote wise, that's where it fell down, and I did wonder, would that fall down then? She came 14th, just 50 points in the televote. I'm pretty sure that's what France got they got about 50 points in the televote in 2023 as well, after a lot of big fan favourite, it's going to do really well, and then mid-table with the televote. So top 10 result for France, good result. That is a good result. But I suspect the delegation's disappointed. They really, really are wanting to win. They are dominating during Eurovision at the moment. They use a lot of the same people. I think they were very confident this time. But it just goes to show, you never quite know what's going to happen. Speaking of which, this probably was a slight surprise to get to the grand final. I was very pleased they did. San Marino with Gabri Ponti and Tutta l'Italia. This came through in the 10th place in its semi-final, so it scraped through. Helped the fact that Italy were in San Marino's semi-final this year. They finished 26th, so yes, it was last place, I think. But hey, getting to the grand final is a big achievement for San Marino. I thought this actually came across better on TV than I thought it would do, given it's a DJ-led song. And you're so restricted about the fact you've got the DJ, Gabri Ponti, who doesn't actually do any of the singing, plus you need dancers and vocalists to actually deliver the song, and then you've got to get some dancers as well. I think that actually it worked pretty well in the end. It finished just 25th with the juries, just 9 points. Again, that really is not surprising given the actual lead singer isn't the lead singer. And they got 18 points. The 20th from the televote, and I think 12 points might have come from Italy, of course, but that's not bad. I'm just going to wave my arms around because our automatic light system has just decided that I'm not moving enough, but there we go. It's also already told me to get a move on because I've been speaking for quite a long time. So in the 26th place, in the running order, the honour of closing the show, and given they've been given really shit running orders over the years when they've qualified, I think this was the reward for Albania for bringing something really quite interesting and different. And indeed they did. Shkodra Electronica with Gem, big fan favourite, really good song, one of my favourites of this year. I think the juries did not appreciate this in the way that they should have done. It came 16th for the juries, 45 points. Not awful, but I really think it deserved a lot more than that, as I thought it was really straight. I thought Albania just really raised their game from a staging perspective, given their budget, and she performed it amazingly. He did well as well. I think they just did a really, really good job of it. And they were awarded with the televote a really good televote score. They came 5th in the televote, 173 points, really close to Austria in the televote score, and overall finishing 8th, which is Albania's best result since their best ever result that they'd had with Sus. Not one of my favourite songs, I have to confess, from Albania. This is probably my favourite song from Albania. So yeah, really pleased. I think they have done a really good job with their national final, it's their music festival that's used to select the Eurovision entry. They might need to streamline it a little bit, I think. But the fact they went with something like this rather than the classic of a big Albanian female ballad shows they can do something different, and it really got appreciated, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really pleased for them. My highlight outside of all this was, of course, the mashup between Karia and Baby Lasagna with Eurodab, and of course they did a little bit of a shout out for Joost and Europapa as well. It was just fantastic. I really, really enjoyed that. Probably my favourite part of the show that night. So yes, and it was a really nice thing. And that really is it. That's 2025 over. We're into 2026. We already know where we're going to be. I mean, we're going to be anywhere other than Vienna. I don't know why that was not a surprise at all. Vienna, unlike a lot of the more recent Eurovision cities, has got lots of beds, so hopefully there won't be this usual. I've blocked every hotel for 5 weeks. In fact, we've already got the dates now as well, so there's no excuse on that. We also have a change to the logo, the branding. So obviously it's the 70th anniversary as well, so there's a bit of additional stuff around that. But they have changed the overall Eurovision Song Contest logo. And inevitably, a lot of people have shouted and screamed and gone, this is the end of the contest kind of style on social media. I struggle to muster up that level of enthusiasm for commentary on it, I will confess. Yeah, it is not going to be the be-all, the end-all of the contest. And people saying, oh, this is... I know some people would like almost... I think they're wanting the contest to fail and saying such ridiculous things as, you know, this shows that when it's in decline, what have you. Hey, viewing numbers don't suggest that at all. Yeah, the viewing numbers are still very high. They've still got lots of countries going in. Eurovision is still going from strength to strength on that side of things. And the fact a logo change is not going to... that is not popular with the core fans is not going to change that. So I'm fairly agnostic towards it. I'm pretty brutally honest. But I will be back. Obviously, I will start coming through, I'm sure, with some updates for the 2026 season as we get kind of confirmations of who is in, who might be out, and also details of national final season. I will get to updating all those sorts of things. Who knows, I might do some additional content. I can't promise it though. I'm a bit stretched with my time at the moment, so we will see how I get on. But I hope you've enjoyed this little kind of final bit of Eurovision 2025 from me. I'm sure you'll hear from me again soon, but take care for now. Bye-bye.